So happy to be home. The snow and the ice and such. Oh yeah, yep. Still a little goofed up. It's all out. Got it all out. Everything that's damaged has been removed except the front left, because somehow I only have 3 jack stands. I don't know where the 4th one went. All stuff's out of the rear. All stuff's out of the front right. I haven't got to take apart the front left yet because, like I said, jack stand issue. So if anyone has my 4th jack stand, let me know. Side note, the tranny started leaking profusely. A little concerned. I don't know if something got moved a little bit, but we'll take it out and hopefully it's just like something dumb. But everything's out of the car. Okay, so that's what it looks like when you take everything out of the car. As you can see, we got the old mid-90s back half job here. It's actually a pretty solid job. I'm not a chassis guy, but there's a lot of things that appear to be well thought out, like this gusset here, this tube that's added. There's a lot of those, like even on the 4-link brackets here, like tube, everything's just like repeatedly tied in. Could be completely standard. I don't know. In my world, it seems like it's relatively beefy, probably why you can hit a wall with it and not have any issue. All the tabs, the frame, so far my Milwaukee tape measure says it's all straight, which is good news because I was a little concerned about that. I'm gonna go through and clean up all the welds, not clean them up like with a welder, but like clean them up and just inspect everything, make sure there's no cracks or anything weird like that going on. Here's the scrap metal pile. It's actually not all scrap metal. Like that wheel's fine, through end housing's good. But everything here is getting upgraded in some way, shape, or form. Front control arms are getting replaced. They're tweaked. They don't look horrible sitting here, but they're definitely not straight. When you had them on the car still and you looked at them, they did not line up with the other side. The spring and the shock's been gone for years, but I've been using it and it was fine, but it's time to upgrade. So the front suspension is getting changed over to a coilover. The anti-roll bar got twisted up a little bit. It held in there pretty good. Brian actually did some work on it when I bought the car. He boxed in the ends and stuff like that and just touched some stuff up on it. But we'll get that straightened out. The rear shocks, those are going to Viscous Performance in Texas. They're going to get upgraded big time. Basically, all they're going to reuse is the body of it. Everything else is going to replace, shaft diameter, clicker style conversion, blah, blah, blah. All the good stuff, because my plan here is to actually have a car with functioning suspension. As you can tell, this and that is not functioning suspension. So I'm excited to see what we can do with the car that works. The front spindle seems to be okay. The rotor got pretty chewed up. Let's see. You can definitely see, yeah, you can definitely see where the old oh no pedal came in and she got locked up pretty hard. And there's a little whoop whoop right there when you spin it. So new rotors, new pads on the front. Hopefully reuse the spindle. The housing, I measured it, seems to be straight. We're gonna put new rotors, new pads in the back, maybe powder coat those wheel wells just so they look pretty. All the brackets got bent up pretty bad. The links are all bent up. But the housing seems straight, and all that was a huge relief. The axles are getting sent out. They're 1/2-inch studs right now. I'm gonna switch more to 5/8 studs. Here's the scrap pile. Here's the culprit. That's our broken wishbone. It's supposed to be attached. It's not attached. You can already tell that this thing was broke well before that pass. But anyhow, there's that. These bars are all getting new. I ordered McAmis 4-link kit, McAmis wishbone kit. Brian was nice enough. He said he'll take care of all this stuff for me and get it all welded up. The front runner obviously took a little beating against the wall. Front runners and wheels are getting replaced. And then the rear wheels, this was like the most exciting thing that happened. So I sent pictures to RC Comp that I came in, no worries, we'll bead lock it. I was like, sweet. Go ahead and bead lock both sides of both wheels so I can run a radial. I've been limited to a bias ply because this is a 14-inch wheel, 10.5-inch tire. It's stretched a good ways. and I just wasn't comfortable stretching a radial like this on, A, you shouldn't put a screw in a radial, and B, I wasn't comfortable stretching a radial without double bead lock. So that's gonna be a pretty nice upgrade for the car to put on radials. Then I've got, these are all TRZ uppers and lowers. I actually bought these like a year and a half or 2 years ago and just threw them in the shed. And I used to joke about it and say, I'll put them on after I hit a wall because I don't wanna wreck them. Well, haha, here we are. So the fender, the body damage, which was what everybody, including myself, was like the only thing anybody was worried about. We actually started, Whitey came over that night and we started pulling this out a little bit. Then I worked on it a little bit more after he left, and we've actually got the fender pretty straight compared to where it was. There's a little crease in there still, and we're gonna try to work that out. The bottom's flared out, but a little adjustment. Just needs to kind of go back to where it belongs. That'll be good. The bumper is all pushed in. One thing I noticed when I got home is it did kind of schmuck the front end way worse than I thought it did. Let's be real, this is way better than it should be. But you can kind of watch like center, center, center. Everything's just kind of one of these, which makes sense. You know, wall here pushes everything this way. But I'm gonna strip the whole front clip off of it, put everything back on, straighten out the best we can. I might finally break down and replace the grill. It's pretty trash, missing pieces, and it's not really attached anymore. So between the bezels getting beat up and the grill getting beat up, it might be time just to replace that. I don't know what I'm gonna do with the raw paint yet. Thinking about leaving the raw paint, or I might just like take some blue paint and brush it on like a dirt car. I don't know, we'll see. Okay, a couple things to discuss. One, everybody wants to know what broke, what happened, why'd you hit a wall? I didn't just drive into it, I didn't fall asleep at the finish line. The other thing is, maintenance-wise, I like to make a lot of jokes about the car, about how it's outdated and it's dangerous and nobody should be in it. I say that stuff, do I really mean it? No. When I bought the car, I went through the entire front end of it, rebushioned it, rebearinged it, like any wearable items, tie rods, inners and outers, it all got replaced. Is it nice, fancy aftermarket race stuff? God, no. But it was all new. Believe it or not, I actually greased it. You can see, like in the video on my panel where the control arms, there's grease hanging off it. I greased it before we left. So, do I think this was self-inflicted? Yes. Do I think it was just like a blatant abuse? No, not so much. The wishbone broke. Nothing in the front end failed, which is where a lot of my concern always was, is the front end being it's all stock parts. But like I said in the last video, we definitely knew that the 4-link stuff was way outdated. We knew the wishbone was outdated. We knew the bars were outdated. And honestly, my biggest concern was always that the hind joint was going to break. And lo and behold, the hind joint didn't break, a tube broke. I'll put up a picture here of the tube. So what you can see here is, this is basically break it apart and look at both ends. Kind of like 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock. You can see where there's dirt and grease in there, and that, I'm not a scientist, but talking to some guys, in my own opinion, it looks like it was an existing crack, which kind of explains this. So when this wishbone breaks, the wishbone locates the rear end left to right. So with it broken, like when I got home and just pick up the car, you can move the rear end 5-6 inches side to side. We left on 10 pounds, and by 1.05 seconds in, we were on 37 and a half. We weren't like shooting for the moon on that pass, but we wanted to see how the car would react up top with the power in it, because we'd never had that much power in the car. So it left, and I remember like when the power came on, it was a handful. And the car is always a handful. It's left to right. You steer the thing all the way down the track. And I remember thinking to myself, like, wow, this really feels like a handful compared to normal. Like, it felt like the car was all over the place. And, but it wasn't enough to like abort the run. It's like, is it the first hit of the year? It feels fast. Is it because we got more power and it feels faster? It wasn't enough for me to be like, never did I think I should get out of the throttle. It never felt that bad. I clicked second, and it was right after I clicked second where stuff, like, my mind started realizing something was terribly wrong. In the video, it looks like it's about 500 foot, and that's about, in my mind, what lines up, where all of a sudden I realized the car was going right, and at first I thought, this is normal, the car drifts a lot, and I just kind of let it go wherever it wants. It's obviously like a super short amount of time. So you've got like, it's basically 2 seconds from the time you're crossing the center track, the time you get to the wall. And I just remember being so frustrated, like, it was like slow motion. I'm turning this wheel, and the wall's getting closer. And at the last minute, I remember just like, it's everything I had trying to turn the wheel, because all in the worst way I wanted the car to spin around. Looking back, like, I'm glad it didn't, but in your mind at that time, it seemed like the best option. Like, if I could just get this car to spin the other way, I won't hit this wall. It hit the wall, and I remember when the car got stopped, I was I finally got the car stopped, and I was crushed. I was absolutely crushed. We went to pull the car off the track, and Josh was on the passenger side, I'm on the left side, and the steering's long gone, so we're running the wheels manually, and they're dragging off the track. And I remember I looked at him, and he didn't look super concerned. I was like 1 to 10, how bad is it? He's like, dude, this thing's mint. I was like, what? And sure enough, I went over there and look at it. It's like nothing even happened. It was, the only way to describe it is like somebody tells you your dog died, and then 10 minutes later they call back and like, just kidding, your dog's not dead. So at the end of the day, it's all replaceable stuff. Everything that got wrecked here either should have been replaced or was slated to get replaced in the next year. So the timing's a little sooner than I wanted. I'm a little bummed that I'm probably gonna miss the first race or two, but either way, we'll get it back. Lead times kind of suck right now. Whole bunch of parts on the way, and stand by for that.